Imagine the scene. You love someone with all your soul, and then, for reasons fate seems to have chosen, you suddenly find yourself separated from that person. Without warning, without explanation. The pain of losing what felt like your only chance at happiness consumes you, but you move on. Or at least you try. And when, years later, you receive an invitation to this person's wedding, you don't know what to do. You show up, facing the ghosts of the past, trying to understand if what's left can be fixed. Or if maybe what you once thought was love was nothing more than an illusion. He chose someone else, and what seemed like the end of the story might actually be the beginning of a brand new chapter. She comes back. Determined. But what will she do when she discovers that perhaps the love she always wanted still exists, and that the wounds of the past are far from healed? What will she be willing to face to reclaim what was lost? Get ready for a story of impossible choices, second chances, and the power of true love. Because sometimes, what we want the most is what haunts us, and maybe what can still save us. Avery sat on the porch of her apartment in Austin, Texas, watching the busy city unfold around her. But her mind wasn't on the restless streets below. It was lost in memories of a past that felt like it belonged to a completely different life. Everything changed when the letter arrived. A wedding invitation with Landon's name embossed in golden letters, the man she had loved more than anything. Suddenly, she found herself mentally transported back to Denver, Colorado, where they had met. The Bluebird Cafe was still the same, but the feeling she carried in her chest no longer was. She read the invitation once more. Landon was about to marry another woman, and he wanted Avery to be there. The pain in her chest was indescribable. Why would he do that? Why invite her to the wedding? Was there still something in her that drew him in, or was he simply trying to close an old chapter? She had no idea, but the invitation alone was enough to send her mind spiraling, bringing back emotions she had buried long ago. She thought about all the time she had dreamed, back when they were teenagers, of a future by Landon's side. They had known each other since school days, and the love between them once felt unbreakable. But life, with all its twists and cruel turns, had been unkind. They drifted apart when Avery moved to Austin seeking new opportunities, while Landon stayed in Denver, where his career and life went in a completely different direction. After that, the letters slowed down, the conversations became rare, and eventually, the breakup happened without either of them truly fighting for what they once had. Now, with the invitation in her hands, she was once again facing a difficult decision. Should she go to the wedding and relive the past, or keep moving forward with her life? The answer wasn't simple, but something deep inside her knew that no matter how much she wanted to run from the pain, seeing Landon again could finally give her the closure she had been searching for. She turned toward the window and stared at the horizon, as if the answers could fall from the blue sky above. But there were no answers, only questions. When Avery's phone rang, she almost didn't hear it. It was her best friend Jackson, calling to check if she was okay. He knew something was wrong, and he had always known Avery hadn't fully gotten over Landon. He was one of the few people who understood the hole Landon had left in her heart. "Avery, are you really going to this wedding?" Jackson asked, direct as always. "What do you expect to find there? Do you still love him?" She sighed and looked at the invitation again, not knowing how to respond. "I don't know, Jackson. I don't know if I want to see what's left of us." "Be careful," he warned. "This isn't a reunion meant to fix everything. It's a chance to close a chapter, not reopen wounds." She nodded, but deep down, she knew the decision ahead of her would be much more complicated than that. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, trying to calm herself. Landon's wedding was approaching, and the mere thought of attending made her heart race. She was torn between the desire to confront him and the wish to simply move on, not looking back. But there was a part of her, a deep and uncontrollable part, that still hoped things between them might be resolved, like a romantic movie that ends with happily ever after. She found herself thinking about Denver again. The Bluebird Cafe, where she and Landon had their daily ritual, was where they had first met. They were young, inseparable, and the world seemed to belong to them. Every conversation about the future, dreams of a life together, it all felt so right, so possible. But fate had other plans. The distance, the lack of communication, and of course, the pressure of adulthood had placed a gap between them that seemed impossible to overcome. Avery had changed. She had become stronger, more independent, but also more cautious with her emotions. She had invested in her career, made new friends, and fallen in love, but never with the intensity she felt for Landon. None of the other relationships had the same depth or passion. It made her wonder, was it possible that she still loved him, even after all these years? And if she went to the wedding, what if he rejected her again? The fear of rejection paralyzed her. She knew that if she went, she would have to confront not just Landon, but herself. She would have to face all of her insecurities and the uncertainties that still followed her. Had he moved on, or did he still feel something for her? Maybe what she feared most was the possibility of finding out that he had truly gotten over everything, that their love was just a simple chapter of a story that had already ended. The invitation, with its luxurious and perfect details, seemed a reflection of the life Landon had chosen. But Avery knew that appearances weren't always reality. She took a deep breath and decided that she needed an answer. She needed to see Landon one last time, to find out if there was still something between them, or if it was time to truly move on. She looked at the clock and realized it was already too late to turn back. The decision had been made. She would buy the ticket to Charleston. The past was calling her, and she couldn't ignore it. Avery arrived at the airport with a heavy heart, the weight of her decision to travel to Landon's wedding consuming her. When she checked in for the flight to Charleston, South Carolina, she felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation, as if she were about to enter a movie in which she didn't know what the ending would be. The hours on the plane felt endless, and every moment made her feel like she was traveling back in time, to a past she still couldn't completely forget. She thought about everything she had left behind. Austin had become her home, but a part of her still felt tethered to Denver and everything that involved her relationship with Landon. Deep down, she knew there was so much more to resolve, but what did she hope to achieve by seeing him again? What would really happen if he told her he was happy with Madeline? That he had truly moved on from her? The thought made her throat tighten. As she gazed out the airplane window, the clouds ahead began to clear, and a sense of calm washed over her, despite all the unanswered questions. Upon landing in Charleston, the city seemed to welcome Avery with its southern charm, cobblestone streets, and historic buildings. But her mind was far away. Landon's wedding wasn't just a social event for her, but a test for her own heart, to see if she could move on, or if the love she once felt for him was still alive, waiting to be revived. When Avery arrived at the hotel, she found herself alone in a room overlooking the sea. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore felt like a gentle reminder that life continued, no matter what she decided. She spent the rest of the afternoon walking around the city, trying to sort out her thoughts. Landon's image seemed to follow her everywhere, as if he were by her side on every street she walked down. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't find the answers she was looking for. She wasn't sure if she was doing this for herself or if she hoped he would win her back. Avery's phone rang again. It was Jackson. "Are you okay?" he asked, as if he knew exactly what she was going through. She sighed, staring at the sea. "I don't know, Jackson. I'm here and it's real. But what am I hoping for? Am I just searching for something that no longer exists?" "You'll know when you see him," Jackson replied. "But remember, what you're looking for may have already changed. What matters now is what you're going to do with it." Avery thought about his words. Jackson was right. She needed to figure it out for herself. The day of the wedding arrived, and Charleston was buzzing with festive energy. The streets were decorated with fresh flowers and colorful flags. The event would take place in an old mansion by the sea, with a breathtaking view of the ocean. Avery entered the venue in a simple yet elegant dress, trying to remain discreet, but the tension in her body was impossible to hide. As soon as she stepped into the hall, she immediately spotted Landon. He was standing next to Madeline, his fiancée, looking absolutely radiant, but something in his eyes betrayed him. When their gazes met, a chill ran down Avery's spine, and she knew in that moment that nothing had been resolved between them. Time, distance, and circumstances had changed, but what she felt for him had not disappeared. The pain of the past returned like a giant wave, threatening to drown her. Landon smiled shyly when their eyes met, but it was Madeline who approached Avery first. She was everything Avery was not: elegant, outgoing, and confident. Madeline greeted her warmly, but Avery quickly noticed that she was trying to maintain control. "It's so good to see you here, Avery. Landon talked so much about you. He always said that you were very special to him." The way Madeline spoke made Avery wonder if there was something more behind her kind demeanor. Landon, for his part, made an effort to approach discreetly. "Avery." His voice was soft, but the words seemed caught in his throat. "I didn't expect you to be here." Avery felt a lump in her throat. "I didn't know what to expect from you, Landon," she replied with a forced smile. He seemed sincere, but Avery's eyes were filled with unanswered questions. As the guests settled into their seats, Avery felt an increasing sense of disorientation. Everything around her felt like a set, as if nothing was real and she was simply watching a movie where she no longer had a part. When Madeline stepped away, Landon finally pulled her to the side. "Avery, I needed to see you. I can't go through with all of this without resolving what happened between us. I thought time would fix things, but nothing's changed. I never forgot you." His words hit her like a direct blow, but Avery knew she couldn't keep playing this game. She looked at him, her eyes filled with tears, and said, "You made your choice, Landon. And I made mine. We can't change what happened, but we can decide what we'll do now." The tension in the air was palpable, and Avery knew in that moment that both of their decisions would shape their future. After the brief conversation with Landon, Avery felt a mix of relief and confusion. He was there, more real than ever, but his words didn't seem to offer the comfort she had hoped for. In that moment, Avery knew that Landon's words would never be enough to erase the years of separation, nor the pain he had caused. As she watched the two of them together, she couldn't help but question their relationship. Why had Landon made so many decisions without even looking at what was left between them? As the ceremony approached, Avery retreated to a quiet corner of the mansion's garden. She needed some time to process everything that had happened so far. The guests began to gather to watch the wedding, but she couldn't concentrate on what was happening around her. Her thoughts were consumed by Landon and the memories of the past. The scent of the sea breeze and the soft light of the evening made the scene feel surreal, as if she were trapped in an alternate reality where both of their choices were still up in the air. It was then that she heard footsteps behind her. When she turned, she saw Madeline approaching. Landon's fiancée had a cordial smile on her face, but her eyes couldn't hide the tension. "Can I talk to you for a moment?" Madeline asked softly, but there was something anxious in her tone. Avery hesitated but didn't have the heart to refuse. "Sure," she replied, trying to stay calm. Madeline led her to a quieter area of the garden where they could have a more private conversation. "I know it's strange for you to be here," Madeline began, looking at Avery with an expression that tried to be understanding, but Avery could sense the insecurity behind that smile. "Landon and I were talking about you. He always speaks so fondly of what you had, and I didn't want you to feel like I'm trying to replace you. That's not what this is about." Avery watched her closely, trying to detect any hint that Madeline was trying to manipulate her. She was polite, but there was something in her posture that didn't seem entirely genuine. I understand. But Landon and I had something very special, Avery replied firmly. But he made a choice, Madeline. And you need to understand that this choice can't be undone. Madeline looked at her with a sad but firm expression. I know, Avery. But I want you to know that, despite everything, Landon still loves you. He never forgot you. And that's, well, it's making me worried. The sincerity in her voice was undeniable, and Avery realized that, in some way, Madeline was trying to help her understand Landon's dilemma. The conversation ended cordially, but there was something more at play than mere politeness. Avery felt as though the wedding she was about to witness was much more complicated than it seemed at first glance. It wasn't just about Madeline and Landon, but about the choices all of them had made, the wounds from the past that hadn't healed. She wondered if this reunion with Landon was, in fact, an opportunity to heal those wounds, or just another way to keep the scars open. The night fell with the same gentleness with which the day had bid farewell. The sky was filled with stars, and the sound of the sea still echoed, softly crashing on the nearby shore. But inside the mansion, the atmosphere was far from tranquil. The guests were entertained, but Avery knew that her presence there was a hindrance, not just for her, but also for Madeline, who seemed increasingly uncomfortable. When the two finally found themselves alone, Madeline looked more tense than ever. The way she looked at Avery made her know that something had shifted in the dynamic between them. Avery, I don't know what you're trying to do here, Madeline began, with a tone firmer than usual. But you need to understand that Landon and I are engaged. This is real. Avery felt anger rise within her but controlled herself. I'm not trying to do anything, Madeline. I'm just trying to understand what's real for him. Because so far, all I see is uncertainty and confusion, and that's not fair to anyone. Madeline took a step forward, her face now more serious. You don't understand, Avery. I know Landon still has feelings for you, but he chose me. He chose me because I'm the woman he needs by his side to move forward. And you need to accept that. The coldness in Madeline's words was palpable, but Avery felt that something more was going on. Madeline was trying to convince herself of something, and that made Avery wonder if their relationship was really as solid as she wanted to believe. I know you're afraid of losing me, Madeline, Avery said with an unexpected gentleness. But Landon can't be forced to stay with someone out of obligation. If he truly chose you, then he needs to be honest with himself and with you. Because if he's not, he'll never be happy. Madeline looked at her with an expression of frustration, but also something more. Do you think it's easy for me? Do you think it's easy to live with someone whose heart is divided? I know what he feels for you, but he made his choice. I just hope you respect that. The conversation between the two women ended abruptly, both of them walking away without resolving anything. But Avery knew that this confrontation had changed everything. Not just for her, but also for Madeline, and perhaps for Landon too. The party was in full swing, but Avery felt more and more distant from the world around her. The sound of laughter, the clinking of champagne glasses, and the lively conversations were like a distant echo in her mind. She was waiting for something, but she didn't exactly know what. Madeline's words still echoed in her mind, and each moment she spent there felt more like torture than celebration. Gradually, she moved away from the crowd and found a quieter corner in the garden. The soft lights of the wedding illuminated the place, creating an almost magical atmosphere. But for Avery, all that remained was a tangle of conflicting emotions. She thought for a moment about leaving the party and heading back to the hotel, but something stopped her. Something told her that the end of this story hadn't come yet. It was then that she saw him. Landon was standing near the stairs that led to the garden, watching her from a distance. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the confusion and fear were evident in his gaze. Without saying a word, he approached her, his face tense. Avery, I need to talk to you, he said, his voice low, as if fearing a negative response. She looked at him, her feelings mixed, but not knowing how to answer. What more do you have to say, Landon? Don't we have anything left to resolve? She tried to hide the pain in her voice, but he heard it. He watched her for a moment, as if weighing his words, then with a deep sigh he spoke. I know I hurt you, Avery. I know I made the wrong choices. But I can't live with this anymore. I never forgot you. I never stopped loving you. Those words made Avery's heart race, but she didn't want to be deceived. You're saying this now, but what's changed? You're about to marry her, Landon. What is this, a final gasp of regret? He stared at her, his eyes visibly marked by pain. No, Avery. I was scared. Scared of losing what I had with Madeline, scared of regretting it, but more than that, I was scared of regretting not trying again with you. I know things between us weren't easy, but I still love you. And I can't marry her knowing my heart is with you. Avery felt her breath catch, as if he had just taken the ground from beneath her feet. She was about to respond, but the pressure of the situation left her speechless. All she wanted was to know if he was being honest with himself or if he was simply being carried away by the moment. So, what do you want from me, Landon? She asked, her voice trembling. I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't know if I can endure another disappointment. He stepped closer, his gaze filled with sincerity. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve a second chance. But please, Avery, let me try. Let me show you that, this time, things can be different. Avery closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the inner struggle take over her. Could she risk everything again? Could she believe in the love they once shared? Avery didn't know what to think anymore. When she woke up the next morning, the sun was shining through the hotel curtains, but instead of feeling relieved for another day, she felt as if she were paralyzed. Landon's wedding hadn't been the end of their story. On the contrary, it was as if a new chapter was about to begin, but she didn't know if she was ready for it. She walked over to the hotel coffee counter, watching the bustling city of Charleston. Every step she took moved her further away from what she had before she arrived here. Every thought about Landon pushed her back into a place where doubts consumed her mind. Did he truly love her? Or was he just looking for an escape from a decision he didn't know how to make? Jackson called early. Are you okay? He asked, his familiar voice offering her a safe harbor. I saw the look on Landon's face yesterday. Do you really think he'll follow through with what he said? Avery hesitated before responding. I don't know. He told me he still loves me, but it's hard to believe. After all this time and so many wrong choices, how can I trust him again? I know what you're thinking, Jackson said. But you have to be honest with yourself, Avery. You still love him. And he's trying to redeem himself. It's not about a perfect ending, but maybe it's a chance for something new, a fresh start. Avery felt a deep pain in her chest, and Jackson's words echoed in her mind. She loved Landon, that was undeniable, but would it be enough to overcome everything that had happened? She didn't know. As she looked out the coffee shop window, the gentle breeze brought her a bit of relief. Something inside her knew she had to make a decision soon, that continuing to delay the choice would only make things worse. But at the same time, the idea of opening her heart to Landon again terrified her. The fear of rejection, the fear that he might make wrong decisions again, these weighed heavily on her heart. When she stood up and grabbed her bag, she felt as though she was about to make the hardest decision of her life. The challenge of love wasn't just about forgiving. It was about deciding if she was willing to risk her heart once more. Avery knew she couldn't go on like this. What she felt for Landon couldn't be ignored forever, but the fear of getting hurt again was still alive in her heart. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the hotel window. The streets of Charleston were still busy, but inside her, everything was silent. The weight of the decision was making everything harder than she had imagined. She tried to think clearly, but the memories of Landon, his words at the wedding, and the moments they had shared in Denver kept her from making any rational choice. Everything seemed confusing, and the pain of uncertainty was stronger than she would admit. She knew she had reached a breaking point. If she chose Landon, she would be surrendering to a love that could, once again, leave her heartbroken. But if she chose to let him go, she might regret it forever, living with the doubt of what could have been. Avery got up from the bed and grabbed her phone. She typed a quick message to Jackson, "I don't know what to do. I'm going to see him. I can't keep going like this." She knew he would understand, but his advice now felt like just a whisper in the storm of emotions raging inside her. Determined, Avery left the hotel and walked through the streets of Charleston toward the place where she knew Landon would be. Her heart raced with every step, and as she neared the garden where they had spoken the day before, she felt the tension building. He was there alone, his back to her, staring at the sea. The perfect setting for a conversation that would change everything. "You came," Landon said, turning around when he noticed her approach. His smile was shy, but there was something sincere in his eyes. Avery couldn't help but smile, the involuntary response on her face. He still touched her in a way no one else could. But the pain of everything that had happened between them couldn't be erased with a simple glance. "Yes," Avery replied, her voice firmer than she felt inside. "But I need to know, Landon. I need to know what you truly want. Because I can't keep waiting for something that may never happen." Landon took a step forward, his eyes now steady on hers. "I know I hurt you. I know I did things wrong and left you behind. But, Avery, I can't live a life without trying to do things right. I love you. And if you give me the chance, I want to do whatever it takes to fix what I've done." The pain and sincerity in his words touched the very core of her heart. But at the same time, she knew that giving him that chance meant risking everything again. "What if you make a mistake again, Landon? What if I get hurt once more?" Avery asked, the vulnerability in her voice almost breaking her own heart. He didn't answer immediately. He just took a step forward, reached for her hand, and held it carefully, as if afraid it might break. "I don't know what the future holds for us, Avery, but I know that I need you. And I will do whatever it takes to be the man you deserve." Avery felt a tightness in her chest. The choice was right there in front of her, and the decision was hers. She looked at the sea, feeling the wind on her face, and for the first time in a long time, she felt that she had the power to change her own story. The fear was still there, but the possibility of something greater, something truer, called to her like never before. "I don't know if I can, Landon," Avery said, her voice trembling but with growing determination. "But if you're willing to try, then I am too." Time passed, and the world around them seemed to carry on as usual. But for Avery and Landon, everything had changed. After a long and sincere conversation, they decided to move forward, aware of the challenges but also mindful that they were taking an important step towards starting anew together. The first days after the decision were tough. There were moments of insecurity, doubts, and memories of the past that resurfaced from time to time. However, Avery felt something different in her heart. Perhaps it was the trust she was beginning to place in Landon again, or maybe it was the sense that, despite the risks, she was finally living according to her own choices. Landon did everything he could to show Avery that he was committed. He helped her rebuild the bond that had been lost, with patience, understanding, and most importantly, respect for her decisions. They rediscovered what had brought them together and learned to be more open with each other, to trust in the words and actions that, before, had been compromised. Madeline's wedding, although painful, became a milestone for Avery and Landon. Not because they had stopped loving what once was, but because they had chosen something stronger, something more real. The past could not be erased, but the future was open before them, and that was what truly mattered. Months later, Avery and Landon were on a small trip to the beach, a quiet and secluded place where they could simply be. They walked hand in hand along the sand, with the sound of the sea in the background, and for the first time, Avery felt that she was in the right place, with the right person. "I love you, Avery," Landon said, stopping to look at her, his eyes shining with sincerity. Avery smiled, her heart filled with a peace she had never imagined feeling. "I love you too, Landon. And maybe, this is the beginning of everything." With the sound of the waves gently breaking in the distance, Avery knew that, despite the uncertainties and the scars of the past, she had finally found what she had been looking for: the chance for a new beginning, a renewed love, and the courage to move forward. So, what do you think? Do you believe that true love can overcome all obstacles? Or is Avery and Landon's past a chapter that needs to be left behind? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: this story doesn't end here. If you were moved by their reunion, don't miss the upcoming videos. Subscribe now to follow more stories of love, overcoming challenges, and unforgettable moments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends because this journey of intense feelings deserves to be experienced by everyone. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss another exciting story like this one. See you in the next video.